y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome in. In today's video, we are going to be playing with the Gansai Tambi Graphite colors and the Gansai Tambi Sumi colors. So if you're up for that, stick around. Okay, y'all, we're going to be doing some swatches of the Gansai Tambi paints in small victories. And I'll show you everything that I have here. We're going to kind of paint these flowers here because I want to see what they look like on an actual coloring book, not just a swatch of a blob of color, if that makes any sense. So we're going to do the graphite colors first, which is these. Let me take them out of here. This is what they look like. We've got graphite red, graphite yellow, graphite green, graphite blue, graphite violet, and graphite brown. And I chose this picture because there's 6 of them in there. So what do I have over here? I've got my little ceramic cup with water in it. I'm going to be using a NIC Pro number 4 paintbrush. I showed this in my last haul, and these are actually pretty good. And I've just got a little Mr. M-I-S-T-E-R, not M-R period, mist of water that we're going to put on this. So let's move the book out of the way first. Let's just give these a nice little spray down. We want to get them a little bit activated first. That's pretty good. And I've also got a very dirty sponge. Well, it's as clean as it's going to get, but you know, it looks kind of dirty. Where are we going to put everything? Let's just set it right here. I want y'all to see everything. And I also have a little palette. Can I put everything in frame? Probably not. Some of it may be out of frame, but you'll get what's going on. Yeah, that's going to have to go over there. All right, here we go. Let's start swatching. Okay, the first color is graphite red. So we're going to dip in there. Let's put it over here. These are very dark colors. And I have played around with these a little bit. Well, not these. Have I? Have I used these? I think I've maybe put a swatch here or there, but I haven't done any projects with them yet. But we're going to start right here. I should have wrote the numbers down, or the color names down. Let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the colors written down here. They all start with like graphite red, not just red, but let's just go with that. I'm not trying to create anything awesome here. I'm just trying to put the color down on the paper so we can see what it actually looks like. So this is going to be a little bit sloppy. But as I said, we're not going for perfection here. We just want to see the color. And I thought that this would be a good way to do a swatch where I can actually see it. Because just like pencils, a swatch really tells you nothing. Because the pencils may swatch out great, and then when you put them down on paper and try to do a whole picture with them, they're not so fantastic. But what I want from this paint is I have become obsessed with watercolors for some reason. And I want to be able to put this down as a base, kind of like what people do with the markers, but I don't like markers. I've tried to like them, I just don't. But one thing I'm noticing here, I can shear this out like I want to do by just putting it over here, because I want to be able to see the lines in the picture that I'm doing. And if it's too opaque, which I was afraid this might be, if it's too opaque, it's going to cover it up, as we can see up here when I take it directly from the pan. So let's keep that going and just put that on this side. This may be a boring video, I don't know. But I kind of wanted to swatch this stuff with y'all, because if you watched my haul, you will see I got a lot of watercolor paint. Because this whole thing started with, I was just using some very, very cheap watercolor paint just to give a backwash of a page. I was like painting the whole page just like one color, right? So then I can get whatever color, I can use that for my highlights too. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what started me with this watercolor craze. And I quite like to base my pages with it now. So, okay, there's the red. Does it look red? I don't know if it looks red or not. But we're going to let this completely dry. And we'll find out. So we're going to go to yellow, which is this one, which looks pretty green. But maybe it's a yellow green. And these are big pans in this too. So this is like a lot. This almost looks like army green, putting it down like this. But let's see what it turns into. Because what I have learned from messing with watercolor is it looks different when it's dry versus when it's wet and you first put it down on the page. Because this looks very, very dark, just like that looks very, very dark. But I'm wondering if we'll be able to see the lines. Or do we need to shear it out over here? Which is what we'll do right here. This still looks equally as dark, doesn't it? We'll keep coming down. But I wanted to use this book because most people have at least one Johanna Basford book. And you know what kind of paper's in it. So this will show you kind of what these paints would do on this sort of paper, if you're interested in getting them. But it does shear out pretty well. I still don't see yellow. I see green. But maybe it's going to dry a different color. Let's pick some of that up. That's a lot over there. And I am definitely no expert in painting or watercolor. I'm learning this right along with all y'all. Not sure which way the best way is to put it down on the pages. I'm just kind of going for it. And I'll see what happens. I do that with my colored pencils a lot too. I'll just choose some pencils. Uh-oh. I started at the brown here, or the red. Clean out the brush. I meant to do this. But I just put the colors down and see what happens, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. That's kind of my approach with this paint too. So that is the yellow that looks green. So I'm going to, oh, the next color is green. I'm going to continue doing this, but I'm going to speed this up so I don't bore you to death. And then we'll come back when everything is all dry and see what it looks like. All right, y'all, we got them all swatched out and they are pretty dry. There might be a little bit of dampness still right here. I must have had a lot of water in that spot or something. But they went down on the paper pretty easily. I have already cleaned this out because we're going to do the next set here in a minute. The paper did not warp too bad, as you can see. Let me move those out of the way. You know what we're working with here. There's no bleed through on the other side, which is good. I don't see anything. Let's remove this because we're gonna play with this side next. But not bad, right? And they are, you can make them pretty dark and opaque, or you can shear them out just like I wanted to if you add a little bit more water. When I feel it, I don't feel anything here. If you've used really cheap watercolors, you know that when they dry and you feel it, there's like a little graininess kind of. That doesn't bother me too bad as long as it's not a lot of graininess, but you can usually feel it on the paper, and I can't feel this at all. Like, they went down really, really good. So we're going to turn the page. Let's move my little plastic protector over here. And we are going to do the Sumi colors now. And let me tell you what colors we have here. We've got Sumi red, Sumi yellow, Sumi green, Sumi blue, Sumi violet, Sumi brown. Is that exactly what we had on the other ones? It is. They're the exact same colors, but these are the Sumi ones. And I think, don't quote me on this, that there's like soot or something like that in these to make them even darker. We're going to do our little mist in here to get them ready. I don't want to keep you too long and make this video last forever. But I'm going to use the same. I'm going to have to move around here. Which way do I want it? This way, I guess. We're going to do it the same way. I've got to get maneuvered around here for the other side, and I guess. We're not going for perfection. We just want to know what the color looks like on the paper. And we'll see if they look different. But we're going to start with the Sumi red directly out of the pan. This is a little more involved here. I'm trying to not to make it look terrible, but again, we're not going for perfection here. That's one thing I've learned, I guess, about using the watercolors is you've got to be okay with going outside the lines. Because you're not going to be able to use watercolor the way you would use pencils. I suppose you could get a little itty bitty tiny brush and get in there and be all perfect, but ain't nobody got time for that. You know what I mean? We just want color down on the paper, and we want it to look pretty, and we want it to look awesome. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to do half of it with as dark as I can get it directly from the pan. And then I'll do the other half with it sheared out. So I'm going to speed you up again. And we will come back when it's all done. Okay, y'all, the Sumi colors, these here, it is just about dry. I do notice like more of a sheen. Is that dry right there? That feels very thick, like it could dry some more. But I can kind of feel this one on the paper more than I can feel this. Like this, I feel nothing. And these dried very quickly. I've filmed a whole video since this has been drying. I've done a whole other video. But there's some spots that look like that it's probably still a little damp. My question is, I brought some kind of gray pencil from Prisma. I brought that over here because I want to see if I can color on top of this, because that's going to be important. So let's color on top of the blue. Can we color on top of it? Yeah, I can color on top of the blue. Let me make this sharp so I can do it a little better. We got a nice little point now. Yeah, I can color on the top of it. That is important because I don't want to put something down on the paper that I can't, like, do my shadows and all that stuff. Yeah, I can color on top of that one. But like where it's really thick, I wouldn't know how to start coloring on top of this because it's so dark I can't see the lines. I think if you make it really, really thick, you're going to have a harder time coloring on top of it. But that's probably literally with anything. You can't see this because this is just so dark. Let's color on top of this one. Yeah, I can color on it. Because I'm not going to have it real, real thick like this in a spot that I'm going to want to color on top of. I hope you can see the difference when I put pencil on top of it. Yeah, so I can color on the top of it. So let's see, this is the red, yellow, green, blue, violet, and brown. And this looks, it's a brownish red. I can see the red in it. And this is very gray. And then this is like the army green again, like on the other side. I can kind of see the violet in this. I don't know what it's going to show up on camera like. This is the light gray looking. And this does look brown when it's sheared out. But it does look different than these. They definitely behave differently. But they're the same. This is red. And this is red. But this is the Sumi. And this is the Graphite. I don't know. Which one do y'all like better? Do you like them both? Do y'all use these? Have you ever used Gansai Tambi paints before? I know that when I did my haul, somebody asked me how much these were. I got all of my stuff in my haul for at least 60% off because I accidentally ran into the big spring sale on Amazon, or I would not have bought these because the regular price of some of these is like over $20, and I'm not paying over $20 for 6 colors. I didn't pay anywhere near that for these, and that's the reason that I got them. But there's definitely a time and a place for these darker ones. I think the Sumi colors will probably be used less unless I'm doing like a really dark sky or something like that, or something that really needs a lot of darkness, which is their purpose. I will probably be using these a lot more. I really do like how these, the graphite ones, I like how they behaved on this paper. But again, these did not There's no bleed through. So from this experiment here, these are safe to use on Johanna Basford pages. I just wouldn't soak the page down because then you're going to run into trouble no matter what product you use if you get the paper too wet. But there we go, y'all. There's the swatch of the Gansai Tambi Sumi colors and the Gansai Tambi Tambi Graphite colors. That is my swatch of them. And I hope y'all like paint swatches because I'm going to be doing a lot more of them because I got a few more sets that I want to share with y'all. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. Do y'all use these paints? Do you like them? Let me know. If you stuck around on the video for this long, I appreciate you very much. And I hope that you have a wonderful morning or afternoon or evening or wherever you are in the world when you're listening to this. And until next time, y'all. Bye.